Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Azura and today I bring to you something that I just wanted to talk about, to be honest. And that is my favorite agent in Valorant. Now, when it comes to choosing a favorite agent, it comes down to one of three things: autonomy, team synergy, and flexibility. From the gameplay side, these points make it so I'm able to make a choice based on these factors of an agent's gameplay, alongside a fun, rememberable personality. A few of my favorite characters and examples in this case would be these three: Omen, ISO, and KO. Omen's biggest strength is being able to screw with people. His smokes allow him to do some very fun mind games with the enemy team. Paired well with his blind and teleports, he makes it so you'll never actually know where a good Omen is. And if you're a bad Omen, the moment you start teleporting and you know you're dead, you just sort of accept it. ISO plays like a walking aim trainer with double tap. That's just due to his nature as a duelist. He's very self-sufficient with his own abilities, and if you have good aim. His wall allows him to make some very stupid pushes, and his vulnerable makes it so you're able to win gunfights you really shouldn't win. That's if you do hit your vulnerability. Aside from that, not much else can be said about him, aside from his literal domain expansion for an ultimate, and he's just a nerd. We love nerds. KO has the advantage of having his knife and flashbangs. KO's grenade makes a good area denial as well. And its ultimate turns him into a walking powerhouse with a second chance built in. That's if your allies are still standing. Also, I just specifically hate Killjoy. I just hate Killjoy. So what happens when you take bits and pieces of those three, jam them together into a package fueled by D&D references, immortality, and the power of Scotland? You get Clove.
No peeking!
I think the best way to start off with an introduction to Clove is to read their bio. Scottish troublemaker Clove makes mischief for enemies in both the heat of combat and the cold of death. The young immortal keeps foes guessing, even from beyond the grave. Their return to the living only ever a moment away. It's to make precedence that the bio of Clove ties into the fact that, while being a young immortal, they can do things that no other agent can do. Alongside their absolutely adorable personality, which I absolutely love, is an agent kit that feels like a blend of self-sufficient duelistry alongside controller versatility, with a touch of initiator in there. Make it for a kit that makes for skill expression in various forms, such as one-way smokes, good use of initiator utility, alongside being able to time your heal to a very good time. But let's get into the basics and start off with their abilities. Clove's first ability is Pick Me Up, with a cost of 200. Clove is able to activate this ability when an enemy they have killed or damaged has been killed, granting them a 15% speed boost and a 100 HP overheal max. Especially powerful if you decide to stick with a classic and grab every ability during pistol rounds. It also allows Clove to stay in a fight for longer if they're able to damage or trade someone out. It helps a lot in tricky situations, and there have been countless times where I have clutched rounds with this ability. Clove's second ability is Metal, with a cost of 250. Clove equips a Fragment of Immortality. When thrown, it detonates after a short delay, and marks all enemies affected by the AoE with Decay, allowing for easy kills if you're able to capitalize on the Decay and not get one-tapped by the jet that's on a crap ton of caffeine. Clove's third ability is Ruse, with a cost of 150 and a cooldown of 30 seconds. This ability works similar to Brimstone smokes. Equip a view of the map, mark where you want to smoke with left click and fire with right click. Clove can also use smokes after death, meaning that if it is useful, you can help your teammates via blocking important sight lines, helping them with either defusing or with clutch situations. This allows Clove to still be useful after death, and I think that is a very important thing with their kit. Anyway, moving on. Clove's ultimate is Not Dead Yet, with a charge requirement of 8 points. Clove, once dead, has a short timer to activate their ultimate, causing them to resurrect and gain intangibility for 2 seconds maximum. Once intangibility ends, Clove must get a kill or damaging assist within 12 seconds to fully resurrect. Essentially, a second chance like KO, but without the need of a teammate reviving you. Clove being able to stay in the fight for just a little bit longer is very strong, especially if you're one of those players that tend to die early on in a round. So, as you can see, when I said that Clove is a mix of initiator, duelist, and controller, I was serious with that. Clove has a kit that feels like you can be very flexible. They feel more like a flex pick than anything, and it's due to their flex pick-esque nature that you can backfill for basically anything, except maybe Sentinel, because Sentinels play a very specific role. So if you think that you could backfill for something like a Killjoy on an anchor, or let's say you're one of these people that feel bonus styles and still play Chamber in 2024, I commend you for it, but please take off the rose-tinted glasses. Chamber sucks. But moving on from Clove's abilities, what about their personality? Well, this happens to be one of my favorite parts.
Skill issue, I'm afraid.
While it isn't really talked about a lot, personality is one of the most important parts of a character. It's why the Overwatch roster is so memorable. You have characters like Tracer, Genji, Hanzo, McCree, Reinhardt, Brigitte, Zenyatta, Widowmaker, Diva, Orisa, Doomfist, Junkrat, Roadhog, Mei, Mercy, Ana. Just emphasizes on the point that when it comes to rememberability of a character, personality is very important, and the personality of Clove is something that I really do enjoy. One of my favorite parts of Clove is just their personality. Sometimes when you load into a map, you get a variety of D&D-esque voice lines that set the stage for what seems like a part of a larger campaign or a one-shot. One of my personal favorites would happen to be their Icebox opening quote.
Your party sets foot across a frigid expanse. Secrets long lost resurface through the shattered ice. The cold is relentless. Roll to avoid frostbite.
Like, come on! As someone who's slowly getting into tabletop games myself, this is just something that I find to be a very cool thing. While Riot is still Riot, I will give them the credit they are due. Their character design, artistic direction, and all-around creative universe building have always been top-notch. Riot might have a track record and a half of being one of those companies that, while balancing has never been its strongest point, its artistic direction and world building, that's where they succeed. Everything else that they do, aside from balancing in their games, they do very well. And I think another thing with Clove is just how every single time, or like most of the time, they will throw out a very witty line, and it's just super fun to hear. Like, yeah, everyone plays Jet, but it's like, come on, Clove's right there. Clove's great. So, enough rambling. I might as well get to the epilogue of this. What does this mean for my personal opinion on Clove? Well,
I reckon I'll take a kip after this. I've earned it.
Clove has quickly established themselves as one of my favorite agents in Valorant, and honestly, I main them now. They're just so much fun to play. It's amazing. From the personality to the gameplay, to not feeling like I'm completely useless when I am going 0-24 or something along those lines, or bottom fragging and having a bad game, Clove has made Valorant fun for me again. And sometimes that's all the game needs. That's all a game needs. Sometimes it just needs a refresher, it needs something new, it needs something good. Good is subjective in this case, don't worry about it. I digress. Sometimes when you find something that you really click with and you gel and you vibe with it, that can bring a whole new sense of life back into a game that you thought, I'm probably not going to play again. Anyway, I'm going to end this here before I continue on my rambling streak. I'm going to go back to making edits and uploading here every once in a while. This has been Azura, signing out. Later, guys.